Hey, what's going on, fellow captains? It's Muse. So today we are going to be doing an off meta, which I haven't done in quite a while. The ship we're going to be featuring is the Gascogne. Recently, I've seen quite a few people saying they can't find the niche with Gascogne. They don't know quite what to do with it. So we're going to be taking a look at it and talking about what I do with it. I'm fairly successful in this ship. First thing I tell people about this ship, don't play it like a battleship. It is a battle cruiser. And when we get to the armor viewer and that kind of thing, you're going to see why I say that. So, for anybody that knows about ships, the distinction between battleships and battle cruisers is battle cruisers have battleship guns, but they sacrifice the battleship armor for speed. And Gascogne is going to be a very quick battleship, quote unquote. It's a battle cruiser. It has almost no armor, and that's going to give it a tremendous speed advantage. It has battleship guns, so that makes it a battle cruiser. Even though people don't refer to Gascogne as a battle cruiser, if you look at all the other battle cruisers in the game, that is exactly the difference between the battleships and the battle cruisers is the armor. The battle cruisers are sacrificing armor for speed. When you talk about ships, there's the holy trinity. You have firepower, speed, and armor. And in order to gain in one, you have to sacrifice from another. And that's what battle cruisers do, is sacrifice from the armor to give to speed. They're more maneuverable. And then there's a very fine line between battle cruisers and super cruisers. Super cruisers are basically up-armored cruisers. So there's a very, very sketchy fine line between, usually your super cruisers are going to have slightly smaller guns than a battle cruiser, but they're going to have better armor. They're going to be up-armored cruisers usually. Gascogne, when we get to the armor viewer, you're going to see it doesn't have armor. So you can't rely on tanking people in the traditional sense with your armor. You're going to have to rely on speed. You're going to have to rely on maneuverability. You're going to have to rely on your detection. With that said, there's two different builds I use on Gascogne. One is a pure reload build, just pure DPM. With that build, I can get the reload down to about 15 to 17 seconds. The thing is pretty ferocious. It can definitely put out some DPM, but it lacks in the survivability department, so you have to play it extremely smart. You can't just YOLO in, you can't go brawling. Like, you have to play really smart with that build. Like, you have incredible DPM, but you don't have the survivability that you do with the build that we're going to feature today, which the build we're featuring today revolves around the rudder, the speed, and the detectability on the ship. Now, we do have a little bit towards the reload, try and cut that down a little bit, but we're mostly focused on the speed, the maneuverability, and the detectability of the ship. That is what the build I like to run on it features. It is a battle cruiser. Maneuverability is life. A lot of cruisers are like that. I'm a cruiser player, so that is my mentality. So that is what we're going to build towards. The one build I do not recommend for this ship is a dispersion build. With dispersion builds, you're going to take away from your speed, you're going to take away from your rudder, and that is, even on the DPM build, just having it at base is kind of sketch. To actually nerf them is horrendous. So with all that said, let's go ahead and start taking a look at some stuff with it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the modules. So we have Aiming Systems Mod 1 for the dispersion here in the first slot. Second slot, we're going to be taking Steering Gears Mod 2, help our rudder out. Third slot, we are going to take the Concealment Mod 1. And in the last slot, we are going to do the main reload battery. That does hurt the traverse, but French have pretty fast traverse. Then for our consumables, Everything's pretty standard. The third slot is the only place you get a choice, and I go with the enhanced secondary targeting on that one. All right, getting into my commander build for this ship, we have Fournier, who is the generic commander for the French. For the base trait, we have some extra HE damage. Then for our inspiration, we're going to run Baltimore, help that rudder out. We want to get the rudder down as much as we can. We have Derevel, that's going to help with our reload time. Then moving over here to the first perk, we have Burn It Down. That's going to give us a better fire chance. You can also use No Fly Zone. Look at Me Now. That is going to help our detectability, -6. Crisscross, I don't recommend. French have fast turrets already. Voluptuous in the third slot. And on second thought, we'll give you a little better reload, but I'd rather get the little extra speed. Steer Clear, that is again going to help the rudder. Reaching Out, you don't need. The ship has enough range. And then we're going to go with Fully Packed. You could go with Will. I prefer Fully Packed because normally I don't play this right next to people. So Fully Packed for me is going to be the better option. And that's going to be the build for you. All right, so into the stats. Survivability, we have 63,200 hit points. Not a whole lot of armor, as you can see. Guns are going to be 380s. You're going to get 8 of them, 4 front, 4 back. The range is the base range, 17.8. Like I said, the range is pretty good, not a big deal. 180 turn time is 40 seconds. You can make that faster, but that's fast enough for me. AA is halfway decent. It's rated 70. As you're going to see in the battle we feature, we end up with a clear sky, so it has enough natural AA. I don't emphasize it any. Maneuverability, this is the bread and butter of my build. It's going to be 34.2 knots before the speed boost, 850 turning circle, and a 9.7 rudder. Thing is fast and agile for a battleship. Concealment, we're going to be 12.5. That's kind of the high end for cruisers. That's like a Russian cruiser. So yeah, that's halfway decent for a battleship, battle cruiser. So we'll take that. And that's kind of what our build focuses around. So let's move on. Now going into the armor, this is what I was talking about earlier. Look at that. That is not battleship armor. That is cruiser armor. Like, look right where the Citadel is. It's the weakest armor. And that's what I mean, is it sacrifices its armor for speed. So I'm going to compare it to some of the other French BBs, just so you can see what you're dealing with. And understand this thing has no armor. Like, it's not meant to tank. It's meant to be fast. It's meant to be agile and bring a lot of firepower. The Citadel is above the waterline. Like, that's atrocious, especially with that blue armor over the top of it. Like, if you show broadside in this, you're so deleted. Like, you're so deleted. And the only chance you have is, like, baiting shots broadside and then having that fast rudder and being able to just turn. Because you don't have a belt. You have nothing for a belt. Somehow this thing has 35% torpedo damage reduction. I don't understand how, but it does. All right, so here's Flandre. You can see it actually has a belt. Like, it's a little more battleshipy than poor Gascogne. Gascogne is a pure battle cruiser. Here's Foudre. Hey, look, we got a belt, we got things going on here, we got some armor, like, it's a battleship. So, yeah, Champagne. Oh, hey, look, it's a battleship. So yeah, poor Gascogne gets, battle cruiser status. All right, so here we are on Trident. In the Gascogne, I'm running the generic French commander as I showed you. And again, our build focuses on rudder, speed, and detectability. It's kind of not going to work to my advantage the way this fight works out. We end up kind of brawling, just the way things go sometimes. But having those three gives me options, and you're going to get to see a little bit of that in this. I'm going to be, right in the middle of it with some DDs. Because of that rudder and my turning circle, I'm able to just completely get out of the way of torps very easily. Because it's lightly armored, the ship for a battleship stops and starts fairly fast because it has less weight than, you know, something like a Bismarck. And the speed is huge. The speed lets you get around the map very, very quickly. And to have those battleship guns and be able to move them around wherever you want is fairly huge. And again, the only thing you have to watch for is you don't have the armor to protect yourself. So you have to understand some other mechanics to the game as to how to not take damage. How to make people miss, how to kite, how to, you know, some of those other mechanics that come into play other than just straight up tanking with your armor. So opening shot, we're going to take a swipe at that New Orleans. And then we're going to crossfire on this Nagato over here. Now, I kind of wanted to come up more towards this island. I am going towards the Alpha Cap. I wanted to stay more towards the island, but I had to maintain some kind of angle on that Nagato, so I'm going to have to turn more towards Alpha than I want to, and that's going to cause this right here. So we're going to take a torp early. Luckily, we have that 35% torpedo reduction. Get one more crossfire across this map at the Nagato, try to help those guys on the other side, and then we're going to start dealing with Alpha here. Now, I already had, the Synop is just completely broadside, but I already had the HE loaded. My reload isn't terribly long, so I'm just going to go with the HE for this shot. I really wish I had AP, but I was firing HE at the Nagato. So unfortunately, this is going to be an HE shot. We are going to get a fire out of it, but I really wish that was AP. So you can see we switch right over the AP, hoping this guy stays broadside. We're able to be a lot faster than him, so we're pushing into a position where we're almost guaranteeing he's going to still be broadside to us when this next reload is up. Now, we do need to be cognizant of the ships back there by Bravo. We don't want to go out past this island and become the focus of everything. Here, we're going to go ahead and just blast on the Synop. Now, I started making a turn because I was going to turn to angle to him, but then I saw he fired at the ship right in front of me, so I don't have to worry about that. DD over here, I wanted to make sure the Synop was gone because he's a big threat to me. I can dodge DD torps, not too worried about that. And the DD drifted too close to the sun. We just ran right in on him before he knew what time it was. That's the speed coming into play. People don't expect, you know, a 40-knot battleship. And so yeah, we're able to run right up on the Akazuki. As you can see, their carrier is back there stuck behind the island now. We've pretty much ran through this whole side. He's going to have to get himself out of there. Now, I need to be really cognizant of what's going on over there at Bravo because that's the biggest threat to me. Obviously, the Implacable can't shoot me. I have decent AA. I can deal with his planes. I do want to, if we can get him out of the match, get him out of the match because he's going to run for it. Right now is the best opportunity we're going to have, so that's kind of where I'm focusing. In a second here, we're going to have a DD pop up. There he is. So now I need to deal with that. I'm going to bait like I'm turning in, try to get him to throw some torps, and then we're going to turn back out. And that's that fast rudder. Like, you saw how fast I went one way and then back the other. Like, 9 seconds side to side. That is not bad for a battleship. And then you combine that with the speed of the thing. Like, it's fairly... It kind of has a cruiser vibe to it, almost. It's really fast. I mean, it's faster than some cruisers, you know. It's fairly maneuverable. 9-second rudder on a battleship, not bad at all. So we're going to turn away from the black, just because I don't want to eat torps off him. I don't want him coming off that island and torping me. So we're going to create a little bit of distance here. Guns are on the side with the Implacable, so we're just going to go ahead and bang on him a little more. Now here comes the black coming out. That's what we were concerned about, so I've created that distance now, so if he shoots torps at me, I have time to dodge him. And again, with the fast rudder, I'm able to change direction so much, I don't think he really knows where to shoot the torps at this point. Bismarck, we're going to go ahead and take a blind shot on him. Take a big chunk off him. I really want this black, but the Bismarck's going to end up coming out. At this point, we're just kind of kiting. Carrier has completely took off. He's going to keep focused on me, though, which is going to get me my clear sky. Here I make a dangerous play. I go flat to this Bismarck, but I see he fires there, and I know I'm good to go. So we're gonna... And that's another kind of cruiser mentality thing, is watching people's guns to when they fire and where they fire, and kind of having that little countdown in your brain of how long you have before they have the reload up. So we're gonna use the island here. If black shot torps, we just completely hit the brakes. And we're gonna go ahead and slap him off the board. Goodbye. Then to deal with the Bismarck. Now, before Flandre got buffed, before Le Foudre came to the game, Gascogne was my French tier 7 secondary ship, and that was what I ran my secondary build on. The reason for it wasn't it has amazing secondaries. It has the typical French secondaries of, like, once something's in range, it has a very fast reload on the secondaries, but it doesn't have the range of the buffed Flandre or the Le Foudre. So once those two kind of came into the game, there was no purpose to secondaries on Gascogne anymore. The reason I was running a secondary build on Gascogne at the time was because I knew a dispersion build was bad for it. So literally that was at the time the only other build I had for it that didn't nerf the speed and nerf the rudder. So it just kind of ended up getting a secondary build more as a byproduct of not wanting to nerf the speed and the rudder on it. So this entire side is cleared out. We're capturing Bravo. At this point, it's just stalking this carrier. And here's where my clear sky is going to come, because we've already tore his planes up pretty good. I need 3 more planes. He goes after our DD and then sees me and knows I'm a threat to him and I'm pushing that island. So he's going to go after me. And that is going to get me my 3 planes. He does hit a double fire there. I DC it because usually in carriers you're not going to hit like back-to-back fires or back-to-back floods. Don't get me wrong, there's some freak carriers that get that kind of RNG, but I don't feel like Implacable is going to be the one. So they finished off the battleship down there, and this just was a close battle at first, and then kind of once we ran through this side, it was a wrap. The carrier getting chased out of the pocket was a big deal. He had to focus more on surviving than, you know, attacking. DD gets a spot on him here. I need 1 more plane for my clear sky, so it's about to be here. I hit a fire back on him. Of course, he gets the auto DC. There's my clear sky. Little over 80,000 damage. We're going to finish second on the team, right behind one of the DDs. So a pretty good game in Gascogne. And again, you can't play it with the mentality of a battleship. You can't expect it to have armor. You have to rely on other things other than armor. You have to rely on the speed, the maneuverability, the detection. Any of those 3 are good things to spec into with a build. Again, you can go with a pure DPM build, but you're really going to be limited in what you can do because of your defensibility. That's all I have for you. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Good hunting, fair seas. Take care, captains. Bye.